Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Brass Tacks Business Podcast. I'm so thrilled today to have Caroline O'Neill. Caroline, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. So Jasmine and I have been extremely, extremely impressed with Caroline and the Body, Birth, and Baby Center. If you guys are listening and haven't heard of it, they do a phenomenal job at building community. So I'm so excited to talk to her today and talk all things prenatal and likewise. So Caroline is the founder of the Body, Birth, and Baby Center. With nearly 2 decades of experience in the perinatal field, Caroline has dedicated her career to supporting women and families through preconception, pregnancy, postpartum, and beyond. What sets her work apart is her focus on something often overlooked, community and connection. She believes that navigating these life stages shouldn't be done alone, and her center was built to provide the hands-on support, education, and environment families truly need. I couldn't agree with that more, Caroline. You have set a goal and you have accomplished it. Well done. Well done.
Thank you.
Awesome. All right. So, Caroline, let people know a little bit about you. How did you get into the perinatal space? You've been doing it for 20 years. Tell us just a little bit about your background and your story and kind of how this all came to be.
Sure. Way back forever ago in college, I was a theater and dance major. So going into this field was not on my radar at all. But after I was living in the DC area for a number of years, doing that theater and dance profession that I pursued, something led me to massage therapy. And while I was there, I had to do a case study on someone for 10 weeks. And I had a pregnant friend. And I said, hey, do you want 10 weeks of massage? And so I logged my table to her house for 10 weeks and I really just fell in love with that work. I was really young at the time, probably 24 or 25. And I knew I wanted a family, but I didn't know anything about pregnancy. Nothing at all. I didn't know anything about birth, but I just loved the connection between the mom, the baby, and myself in that room. And that time is really what set me down this path, that what I have now, I never saw coming, but here we are.
Well, glad you went off that instinct because tell us a little bit more kind of what did you do at that point? What kind of coursework or studying did you do and kind of how that led you to where you are today?
In school at a really phenomenal massage therapy school in DC, a good year and a half of training that I went through there. And soon after, I went and got my prenatal and postnatal massage therapy training. And when I first started, I had a small private practice myself. And I saw all types of people, all ages. I didn't really have a specialty yet, but I did really love this prenatal field. So of course, when I got pregnant, I was around 28 at this time, so it had been a few years. And I fell in love with pregnancy and birth and all of the preparation that my husband and I took, which was the hypnobirthing course, which is what I have been teaching now for 14 years. Just being in that learning environment, I was just hooked and was not turning back. And after all of my birth experiences personally, I just knew that I wanted to help other families, women, and their spouses through this huge transformation in life.
So you didn't start thinking about starting the center until you had gone through multiple pregnancies yourself?
So for many years, I was doing everything separately, right? I had a massage therapy practice. I was teaching hypnobirthing. I paused massage therapy for a couple of years because I had 4 kids pretty close together. Then I got back into massage therapy and I was like, wow, my two things that I do feel very separate from each other. And, working through the pandemic where everything was virtual, and I was like, okay, we need to come back together. It's time. And I want to merge both of my career paths that I have together, but I want to do that with other women in the community, some who I've known for a very long time in this field, some that were newer to me. And it all was very serendipitous and came together at the right time. And so the center opened in the summer of 2022.
So you already had all the relationships. When you started the center, did you have like your doulas and your
Mhm.
midwives and
All my
everybody,
resources.
all your resources lined
I
up?
had all that stuff.
Okay.
And I have built so many relationships since the center has opened for sure. But yeah, it just made sense for it all to be in one space. And anything that we didn't have, we don't have everything by any means, but anything we didn't have, it's like, well, we have these other trusted providers the area. And so when people come to the center and they are learning from us or getting sessions from us and they're getting our trust, we're building trust with them, then they know, okay, well, if they recommend Dr. Keith as a chiropractor, then I trust that, right? So it kind of overflows into the community as well.
Wonderful. And so for those of us that don't know about the center, how would you describe it to somebody who doesn't know anything about you or the Baby Birth and Body Center? How would you describe that to somebody?
Sure. I think first off, it's a really calm and relaxing place to come. We have providers in our space that will help you as early as preconception and then through your pregnancy. So whether you're choosing to see one of our midwives, whether you're seeing me for massage therapy, our pelvic floor PT, or some people come for a class and then they're like, oh my gosh, there's all these providers here. And what I really love about it is you can jump into our center at many different points. I have some clients that have been fertility clients of mine for years. And then they get pregnant and I get to work with them through their whole pregnancy. And then I get, like last week, I had a fertility client who came for her first postpartum massage. And the full circle care is what is so important to me, is walking alongside someone, which might be for years. But then we also have, I don't love the word support group because it sounds like, oh, something's wrong, I need support. But we have mom groups, I guess is what I'll call them, where women can just come together. We have a few different options every month just to hang out, just to meet other people. And so when I see these new faces walk into the room to our baby's first year group, I'm always like, hey, like, hi, I'm Caroline. What's your name? How did you find us? And that could be their first time there. And that's totally fine too. And then what's cool is then they're with us, right? Next pregnancy, they're with us again. And so there's really an opportunity, no matter what phase of those like early parenthood years, that you can come join us.
And why is that so rewarding to you when you're able to walk somebody through, whether it's before they even get pregnant or through their pregnancy or even afterwards? What makes it so rewarding for you?
Because I think all of those big things, right? Someone having trouble getting pregnant, someone going through pregnancy, maybe they don't have a lot of family or friends in the area, maybe they are postpartum and they're really having a hard time with that transition into motherhood. I think the biggest healer is being with other people. I think by welcoming someone into a room and asking them their name and asking them how they're doing and saying, I'm so glad you're here, can really change the entire day of that person and make them feel included, right? Included in something in our community where they can come back every other week and see familiar faces and they can see new faces. So I always tell these moms, come to this group. Maybe you met someone, but maybe you didn't click with someone. Come to the next one because there's going to be someone else here. And I just think that we know community is what keeps us healthy.
Couldn't agree more. And for everyone who's listening, I was not intimidated, but I was a little nervous going to your, what event was it that I met Dr. Tony and Chad was there
Provider
too?
night.
Provider night. Is that what it was? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I went to provider night and I was a little nervous just because you do have a very female dominated, center, which is fine. And I love, meeting providers, male and female. But had I not gone, I would not have met a couple of the providers who then helped me meet some other people. And then now I'm looking into new services to be bringing into my office so that I can help more people. So you never know who you're going to meet. And I agree with you. I know people say that a lot because I say it myself. I'm a little nervous, or I don't know if it's going to be for me or whatever. But for everyone that's listening, I highly recommend going to an event at the center because I feel that even though I was nervous, it was extremely fruitful and it is very welcoming. It's very warm. It's not like intimidating or anything like that. What do you feel, Caroline, what do you feel like makes your center, or what sets you guys apart? Where do you feel like there are gaps in some of the care that women, have or facing during pregnancy or postpartum that are often going unaddressed? And how do you guys kind of fill those gaps?
I think we're really able to make it individual for each person. People can come to the center wanting any type of birth, and we support that. And we try to give the information that they need for the birth that they want. We have people that are making choices in postpartum that are unique to them, right? Breastfeeding or not breastfeeding, going back to work, staying home. And we just welcome the conversation of that's great. That is the choice that feels best for you. It is not a one size fits all. And I think that that is something that we do really well, is really honoring each person's journey through pregnancy and parenthood rather than saying, hey, this is the right way to do it.
Why do you feel like it's important if they're going through that? Why is it so important for them to have a support system? Or what have you seen your clients that have come through the center? How have they benefited from that support system that you guys provide?
Yeah. One thing I talk about a lot is my oldest is about to turn 17. And so when I became a parent, I did not have a smartphone. I did not have this device in my hand telling me how to be a good mom and telling me how I should feed my baby and sleep my baby and like all these things. And I think nowadays people are, naturally, we all are on our phones looking for the answers. Tell me what I should do. What is the best way? But with that has become a lot of doubt. People doubt themselves. They're not really tuning in to their maternal instincts. And I think when they come and they are talking with other people, other moms who it could be the same experience and they feel so good to connect, or it could be a totally different struggle, but they're like, oh my gosh, she's struggling too. I'm doing good at what she's doing. So I feel better that I'm having this different struggle. And it's just relatable. And I'm always like, we just need to put these phones down, put them down. That's not what we need. We need to be with other people. And I think through each phase, it can change. When you have that first baby, I think, is there value in having a friend that has a 3-year-old? Sure. But I think the real value is the person that has a baby roughly around the same age, same things at the same time. When I had my fourth baby, I had a close friend also having twins, but there was something about having that fourth baby together at the same time, surviving motherhood of 4 little kids. I couldn't have done it without someone who knew what I was going through. And I think that's what makes a really big difference.
What are obviously, the pregnancy and postpartum are extremely challenging. What do you think is the most physically or emotionally, what's the biggest challenge moms face, you think, if you had to pick one physically or emotionally?
I would say two big topics: feeding, when breastfeeding does not go smoothly or how we expected. Um, a lot of, women struggle with how to navigate that and how to move through that. And am I going to stop? Am I going to pump? I feel guilty because I'm giving formula. And I think a lot of people, when they're on the other side of it, they say, I had to stop or I had to change this for my mental health to be a good mom, right? If we are feeling that stress and if we aren't feeling happy and then in that kind of turmoil, then we can't be the best version of ourselves for our baby. So I would say that breastfeeding is definitely a big one. I think that when these women are together in hearing that others have gone through something similar, it makes them feel so much better. So
I
much
didn't
better.
realize how exhausting breastfeeding is until
Yeah.
you have to do it or your partner has to do it. And obviously you can speak to that more than I can, but like it's constant nonstop thing.
Oh yeah. Even it's like the timing of your day, right? Like
Yeah.
I have to go to this meeting or I have to go to this doctor's appointment. I got to pump. I got to feed the baby before. I got to hurry to get home. Yeah, it's a lot.
It's an ordeal. What are some of the things that you see moms do, or maybe that your providers offer at the center that can help them best prepare for birth, in that journey?
I think when possible, because this isn't always possible, is when the couples are coming together to the class. Right? There's circumstances where a mom needs to come on her own because her husband's career or her partner is going to stay home with the other child. but there is a lot of strength in when you come to the hypnobirthing class, when you come to the breastfeeding class together as a couple, you feel united. You feel like you're in it together. It usually is then going to spur some conversations on the drive home or the dinner table the next night. Like, hey, remember when we were learning about this? I think that, that's why we use the word families a lot, because it's not just about the woman. It is about her partner as well, and her baby, and that whole unit together. And so, we want these couples to come together so that they can feel.
What I notice, so everybody who's listening, and if you have a baby or you're looking to have a baby, you must take Caroline's hypnobirthing class, because I felt the same way. And so I've sent clients to Caroline's Hip. The men get more benefit than the women sometimes, I feel like. Like, I was so interested in all the information that Caroline provides in her hypnobirthing class, and you guys don't even know how much information there is and how many things that you can learn, whether it's a hospital setting or not. And then when I sent my client there, she said the exact same thing. She was like, my husband was hemming and hawing. He didn't want to go. And then he was one like, come on, babe, we're going to be late. We're going to be late to hypnobirthing. Come on. And then I looked back and I was like, I was the same exact way.
I
So,
tell you, man, that is one. I mean, I could say there's like 1,800 favorite things, but I love when the men in the room get so excited. And then I hear stories about how they're like, oh my gosh, we were out to dinner the other night and my husband was just talking all about hypnobirthing. Or my husband was telling his colleague at work, like, you don't have to do that. And I love it. I love, because that is the majority of men that come. They're like, oh my gosh, really? Oh, we have to take this class. It's so long. It's dinner time, like all the things. And then literally like 2 classes in, they're like, great.
yep, yep. And I noticed myself, like I was telling, so we had another couple that was similar due date to ours as well. And so the husband was coming to see me and the wife. And so I was telling them about your hypnobirthing class. And I was just like, oh my gosh, yeah. I've learned this and I've learned this. And then he's like asking me questions and he's like, oh my God, I didn't know that. I didn't know this. I didn't know that. And I was like, I felt so informed. And I was like, I'm such a good dad and I'm not even a dad yet. And
Yeah,
so
you're
it
doing
was
you're doing great.
it was
I
definitely
just say
fun.
I just finished a course this week, and what this dad said just really stood out to me, and I was like, yes, this is why I do this, like in person and have the center. He was just so taken by all the information and so grateful. And he said, to think that we weren't going to do this. Like, what? He's like, I can't believe we thought we were going to go into birth without this information. And I was like, thank you. Like, that is the biggest compliment I could get, right?
Yep. Well, I'm glad you brought up community because I'm a big believer in it, and I think you guys have accomplished that goal here at the Body Birth and Baby Center. Why is community so important to you? Why is connection so important to you? And how do you feel? Has that been the goal from the start when starting the center? Like, was that like, you just wanted to connect everybody, or kind of speak
I
on that
think
a
it
little bit if
was
you can?
really at a time where I was, when my kids were all little, having 4 kids under 7 was a busy time, right? And you were doing everything to get through each day. And as I was coming out of that, like my youngest was about 5, I thought, what was it that got me through? What helped me? And it was that friend, right? That I had mentioned, like having a 4th baby at the same time. I always say you need to find the person that you go get your oil changed with. Like that's the friend that is going to help you through. I think that there's this, in the last couple of years, there's this buzz about like building your village. You need your village. Where's our village? People are mad. Where's our village? And I'm like, man, that feels like a lot of pressure. Like, that feels like a lot of pressure to have a village of people. And I just think it really can take 1 or 2. It's that person that you would literally bring up to your like messy upstairs bed. It is that person that like, you're like, let's go get our oil changed because I can't be by myself with this baby. And I want to help make those connections. I want to bring people together so that they can find that friend. Our center is very baby focused. We're not a place for toddlers. The toddlers get very bored there. There's nothing to do. And so we have our babies first year group. So it doesn't matter if it's your first baby or your third baby. If you have a baby that is under 1, you and your baby can come. And people are always sad, like, oh, I'm aging out. I can't come anymore. I'm like, well, first off, the toddler, not going to have fun. You're going to be just chasing them around. The goal is that you've come for all these months and you found the friend and now you can go to the playground. We are the connection piece, and you won't be with us forever. I mean, I wish you could be, but it's that cyclical thing.
I need to get into. How come me and Jasmine have not been to that yet?
I don't know. It is just for moms, but we do. It's funny. We've tried to have some dad things. It didn't click for some reason, but we do have a few things throughout the year that also include partners. So, like coming up this month, we have our baby wearing event. So we have like 30 different carriers, so you can come and try on all the different kinds. And both people can get fitted for that. Both mom and dad can get fitted so that, dad can wear it too. Wear the baby. We'll have like holiday events where the whole family can come, and that can be like people with big kids, So we do try to like bring people together at different times in that way.
I need to go to that too because Jasmine's bugging me about buying this super duper expensive baby carrier for our trip. So we need to come to that as well.
You need to come for sure.
Yeah.
Because they will fit it to you. Find out the best one for your body and baby.
So if someone listening, Caroline, feels like they're overwhelmed, they don't know what to do, they don't know where to start, what would be, the most impactful advice you could give them that, just to help them get set up for a healthier pregnancy or an easier recovery?
Well, I am really big on saying, like, get out behind the screen, get out, just deep diving into the phone. You can find any answer you want on there. You can find any angle that you want on there. And then look to the people that are in your life that align with you, right? Like if there's someone that had a birth similar to how you're coping, talk to them about it. Lean into them about it. I think, looking to older women in your family, whether it's an aunt or a cousin or someone else that has had a baby that you feel trust in, talk with them. But I think my through line, my broken record is be with people and find those people that lift you up, right? Like you don't want the negativity. You don't like, this is horrible, or don't even try to prepare. It's like, no, like this is the biggest event of your life. Like preparation is everything.
I'm glad you brought that up. Why do you think that exists so often with people wanting to tell their horrible experience or whatever? Why do you think that's a thing?
I know. It's tough because what I'll say first is I think it's important to honor everyone's birth, right? Whatever that experience looked like, and respect every type of birth. But I think what can happen sometimes is someone has some hurt or pain from their own experience and they are still trying to work through it, right? Like they're trying to make sense of it or find reason in it. And by sharing that experience with other people, maybe that they're thinking that is helpful, or, it's hard when they're hearing somebody else talk about birth in a positive way or a different way. And they might feel like sad that they didn't have that experience. And so I think it's a really sensitive topic. And we have to remember that everybody's birth has nothing to do with you.
What else? Tell us about some of the providers, because I know you offer perinatal massage, you've got midwives, you have a doula night, you've got the breastfeeding. I didn't even know you had baby carriers. You've got that too. You've got something for the husbands. Any other providers we haven't mentioned or any other services that you guys offer at the center that you haven't mentioned yet?
Yeah. So we have our yoga classes, which is another really great way of community. So, regular prenatal massage or prenatal yoga every single week. So that's nice. You see those familiar faces as well. And I think what the key of the center is the overlap, right? You come to my hypnobirthing class, you go to a yoga class, then you take the breastfeeding class and you're like, hey. So I think it's not like you're going to take a hypnobirthing class and find your best friend there. It's like, oh, you were in my hypnobirthing class, right? And now we're doing this together. Oh, and now we have our babies. But yoga is great because we also have baby and me yoga, like mom and baby yoga. We have postpartum yoga. So that is just a great one because it's all the time. There's always an option for that. We have our pelvic floor PT who offers one-on-one care in our office, but she also has fantastic classes. Lily, who does our breastfeeding class, also does newborn care and infant CPR. She has a breastfeeding support group every month as well. And then Susan, who does our yoga, she also has an amazing wellness spa. So when you're pregnant, you can go get a facial that is all pregnancy safe and you can feel amazing. You know, our hormones can do crazy things with our skin. So that is a nice treat for yourself. And then we have our midlife midwife. So once you're done having babies and then you're going through the next phase of perimenopause, menopause, you can circle back to us and we have the midwife that will help you through that. And as you mentioned, of course, we have
Shout out to Heather and Hillary. Well, what do you feel? You guys have done such an amazing job building community, building connection. And how long has the center been open?
so 4 years this summer.
4 years. So what do you feel like anything on the horizon, looking ahead? What's the vision for the future, Caroline?
So it's interesting, you know, when you're starting a business, the ideas are just like constant. You're like writing down ideas, writing down ideas. I would say like the first 2 years, you know, kind of throw something out and you're like, ah, that didn't work. And then you pull back. I got to this really amazing place about a year ago where I was like, I think we got to figure it out. I think we have our providers that are really, we have our core classes that aren't going anywhere, that are regular all the time. You can look on the website and they're always there. And then we have our few that we bring in a couple of times a year, like that Meet the Doula night or a baby sleep class. And then that's it. Because I got thinking, I said, I don't want people thinking they need to take 300 classes to be a good parent, right? Like I want us to give enough information so that then you can trust that instinct and figure out what is best for you. So there are some new offerings that have happened in the last year. Our therapeutic groups, which is one I'm really, really proud of. I partnered with Dylan Beckner, a mental health therapist, and this is a really intimate group for women to come and for 4 weeks together and talk about all the big topics about motherhood but it's just about moms. Babies stay home. That one has been, and that's ongoing as well. And so it's a first time mom group, or you have a couple kids at home. Those are separate, right? Like totally different experiences. And then a new one that we have coming this year that I partnered with Sarah Bogle, a local doula, is meditations and affirmations for birth. So this is just a one-time class and it's a great extension or supplement to hypnobirthing to, okay, like I've learned about affirmations and meditation. How do I really hone in on it and how do I practice them well so that I'm ready? So those are some of our newer things that's come about.
That's awesome. What have you learned? Like you mentioned earlier, that that you feel like you're in a good place right now. Since you opened 4 years ago, what have you learned about business and people, other than the connection and community that we spoke about? Like, would you, looking back on when you started till now, would you have done it any differently? Would you have changed anything?
I would say no. There was no huge mistake or huge hiccup. I think what is overwhelming sometimes is like the amount of people coming towards me, right? And then figuring out, who's the right fit and who's a good connection. And I am all about meeting people and all about supporting other businesses. And I didn't realize how that was going to be overwhelming.
Yeah.
It was just a lot of people coming towards me, and I had to really learn how to set time aside, be like, this is when I have meetings, right? Like, okay, Wednesdays at 12:30. If you can come on a Wednesday at 12:30, then I can meet with you. And then that's all I can offer right now. Because, as a business owner, you have so many moving parts. And if we are just giving of ourselves all the time, then we cannot do a good job. And I think in a field where it's a lot of nurturing, It's a lot of listening. It's a lot of holding space. I need time away from the center. I need time to step away so that I can recharge and I can focus on myself, or otherwise I just will not be able to be present in when I'm in at work.
Caroline, you've become a super connector. That's what I'm going to call you from. You're a super connector. That's what you do. The center, you're just connecting everybody, and you should be very proud of that because people are obviously knocking down your door and they need help, and you're able to
Thank
point
you.
them in the right direction. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Awesome. All right. Well, for those that are listening, Caroline, how can they get more information about the center, or if they did want to come to a hypnobirthing class or one of the, what's the best way to get in contact or to get more info and to get involved?
So our website, bodybirthandbaby.com, has everything, has all the links. We are Body Birth and Baby Loudon on Instagram and the Body Birth and Baby Center on Facebook. The website is a great way of communication, though. I am not on social media much. That is all taken care of for me. So if you have a specific question, email us at the info at bodybirthandbaby.com and get back to you personally that way. But all the signups for all the classes are right there on the website.
Wonderful. So for everybody listening, whether you're planning to have a baby or you're currently in the process, I definitely couldn't recommend Caroline's hypnobirthing class, especially you dads. I know you think the wives are just going to drag you in there, but you will be pleasantly surprised and you will be dragging the wife in there within a few weeks. And yeah, thanks so much for being on, Caroline. I'm glad you told me about the baby carrier workshop because now we're going to have to come to that. So,
All right,
next Saturday. Awesome. All right, Caroline. Well, thanks so much for being on. Everyone listening, please reach out to the website Caroline provided if you need any more information. And yeah, we'll see you on the next podcast. Thanks so much, Caroline.
Thank you.